This podcast is produced by Sunnydale Studios.
I don't want just anybody. Let me treat you like somebody. Try to dive on a ride. This forever, we ain't stopping.
Hey lovers, welcome to episode 4 of the Big Love Energy podcast. I'm your host, Jesselou. Today we are talking about fun. I know that sounds super light and airy and quite broad, but for me, fun and implementing it back into my life was the start of a huge change and shift in my mindset. And I really want to share that with you guys today and get the conversation going, because it can be so hard in today's day and age to give ourselves permission to have fun. But as we discuss in this week's episode, there's so many layers to fun and what it can do for you. So let's get talking about fun. Okay, hello. We are in the studio recording, and I say we because it is myself and our lovely producer, Kat, once again from last week's episode. I quite enjoyed having a little friend on the side, so we're here again, and today's episode is all about finding fun. So being solo on a mic in front of lots of people is not fun. Yeah, it's not fun. So I thought, we'd have Kat join us today so we can have a chat, banter along on a topic that might seem quite light, but for me it's been such a turning point and so important, and I wanted to talk about it on the back end of last week's episode as a way to sort of implement some tools if you're going through a bit of a rut or trying to heal or find your way. Fun is a good start, and a lot of us lose our sense of fun, and I'm not about that anymore. No. So thanks, Kat, for being here today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I've got nowhere else to be, love.
Oh my gosh.
That's where I want to be.
Yay. Fun time. I just think, fun is no joke.
It's no joke. We've been having some banter off air about how we're going to start this episode. And I think most people know now that there's a real goofy side to you. You're quite a goofball.
Yes.
And you've really prioritized fun and what it means to you to have fun. And I think based on a lot of the feedback that's been coming through from listeners, everyone is quite in awe with your story and how you've turned it around.
Excuse me, so, this is not what you're here for. You did not say you were going to say this.
Well, I know. I'm talking off the cuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your fun non-negotiables, or as you like to call it, finding the fun frequency.
Oh, gosh.
You're listening to 101.9 with Jesselou.
On the fun hotline. This is a thing now. I was saying to Kat off air that I was like, I want people to find their fun frequency, and she just looked at me like an absolute dweeb, and we're going with it. But I feel like, when we're talking about energy and big love energy, the fun factor, there's so much alliteration in this already by Louis Lux. The fun factor is so important. I just think that it's a serious talk that we have to have is about fun. So for me, I didn't realize, but I completely lost it. I think we're so conditioned, especially as mums, like all of a sudden you got to put your serious Sally pants on, and that becomes your norm. And then at some point, you just got to go back to basics and like make these little tweaks. And I think becoming a mum, like your kids sort of provide that mirror, and you finally get a chance, or you snap it in this, you like stop what you're doing and be silly with them for a bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, like I remember that feeling, or it brings you back to those feelings of when you're a kid and free, and it's so lovely that our kids give us permission to do that. But I think we just need to give ourselves permission. Like we need to start just taking back that power, and realizing that when power comes from a place of fun, there's no harm. Yeah. Like it's a good thing to just not take yourself so seriously and go back to those like little points in life where you're just like, it's like freeing. So yeah, today we're going to talk about prompts, fun prompts, because sometimes we need to be reminded like how like it's going to be different for everyone, but I want to get the conversation started, what I've personally done, and maybe set a few challenges for the listeners as well.
Oh, it sounds good.
Yes.
So what do you do for fun?
I'll keep it PG. No. Oh God. Sorry, kids. Sorry, boyfriend. For me, being, you know, pretty much caught up in work most of the time, it's about in those moments like dancing at my desk with, like, if I'm just not physically dancing at my desk, but, you know, just incorporating music or putting on a tune, and then in the moment, just like you'll see me on my stories, like always just like singing into my pen, or just, you know, in those moments, like finding those little bits of time where you're just like your inner child's coming out and being goofy. And they say that that's so important, and you know that you're on your healing journey when those little goofy bits come out, and when you're in a safe, intimate relationship and you can be that goofy self and you don't get shut down, that's like such a green flag. So for me, it's like being able to like give myself that permission as well, like to be like, you know what, this is who I am. Like, I've always been this goofy girl. Like, just because I run a business now and I'm a mum doesn't mean I have to lose that. So for me, it's like those little moments matter. I also feel like, for me, one of the big things was going back to dance classes. And I'd done bits and pieces over the years and gone back to Latin dance, and, it definitely filled my cup. But in recent years tried a completely new style of dance, which was heels. And I don't know if any of you gals have tried that out there, but I know a few of you have seen my stories and gone, what is that? Because it is a bit risque and it's a little bit taboo, but it's just really empowering to tap into that femininity and just like let loose. And it's fun. Like, it is so fun being a bit wild.
Do you need to be a dancer?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's there's like, depending on where you go, but like generally, like, yeah, there will always be like a beginner's class, and like with zero, it's more about like, it's not about hitting the dance moves, but it's like in terms of losing yourself in the music and oozing into that confidence. You know, 1 or 2 classes you might sort of step at the back and just be like, I'm just gonna be here. But it doesn't take long and you're just like become a new person, and it doesn't matter if you're not getting the steps, like you just, lose yourself in like the feeling of just that exhilarating feeling of like, oh my gosh, like the whole thing in terms of I'm trying something new, the music, it's like releasing all these amazing hormones, and then just that sense of achievement that you're trying something new. So it's like it ticks so many boxes, and then, you get to, you know, go home and be like, feel yourself, not literally.
I touch myself.
But you feel, it's very empowering. So
how often do you dance? How often do you go?
Not as often as I'd like at the minute, but there was a point there. I'd go once or twice a week. But if I can get 1 a week, awesome. But at the moment I haven't been for a couple of months. Sorry, girls, that heals by Misha, but I
gotta go back.
I gotta go back, and they keep saying come back. But
that's your challenge then.
Yeah, this is my challenge. Dance more. And I say this all the time. I'm like, I know I can feel it when I'm getting like super stressed as a whole, just because of work, and then or anxiety sort of creeping in. I know I haven't given back to my fun self, and I'll say, I need to get some dance in. Like I need to, and like it just really changes the tune. And it's just like, it's a constant learning process, because it's only an hour of your week. It's a long week, but for some reason everything sort of, it gets pushed to the side amongst all the seriousness and busyness of life. It's just like prioritizing fun, really. So
for those that aren't into dance, or might be like a little bit too nervous to try something like that straight away, what are some other things that you do that you found have like give you back your fun spark?
I maybe 2-3 years ago started going back to team sport in the way of basketball, not regularly or for a team, but just like, you know, friends would be like, oh, I play on a team, do you want to fill in? And at first I was like, oh my goodness, like it's been a long time. But started saying yes, and then it's like a completely different kind of fitness to what I'm used to. But just putting yourself in a new situation where you're like, meet new people and meet all types of, like, it's like it can be quite aggressive team sport in a way, like you just put yourself in a situation. And I think those new experiences and how you deal with them now as your adult self, like that's something that I hadn't personally been like, it's you like sort of, it gives you a chance to self-reflect because you're like, okay, I've realized that I like to stand out of conflict if there's something arises, or I'm a real like go-getter. And so like, yeah, doing team sport and it's not only good for like getting those endorphins going in fitness, but just like, yeah, it's a chance to self-reflect and be in that team environment, which as adults we don't really get a chance to do. I think that's why team training and those sort of gyms where you train with a group of people and do a circuit is so popular, because you feel you get a chance to see where you sit and like bounce off each other, like bounce off other people. So yeah, doing team sports in a dance class or anything like that, that's the same deal. Like, yeah, I feel we get so used to just staying in our own lane sometimes. Speaking personally, like I quite the hermit most of the time. So yeah, just putting yourself out there, especially if you've gone out on your own and going through a transitional time. Yeah, branching out and trying something new can be.
How did So I didn't realize you were playing team basketball. That's cool. How did that? Is that a friend that has reached out to you and asked you to join?
Yeah. So at the time, there's been a couple of times, but yeah, just friends, girlfriends who play it weekly, and then Kayla, one of the girls who I was working with, she was like, oh, you know, want to come play? And then so there's been numerous times where I'm just like going, yep, like completely thrown in the deep end.
So good.
Yeah,
I
just
reckon
saying
there'd
yes.
be so many listeners, so many women out there that would have grown up playing team sport, that had the best time and probably have the best memories and likely are still friends with those they played with today, that haven't played or done anything like that in years and years for work, kids, whatever reason. I think that's such good advice.
Honestly, and why not? Like, and even if it's, you know, not presented to you the way it was to me, like, I probably would have seeked it out eventually. I was lucky that it sort of fell in my lap. But yeah, I think if you're listening and you grew up like playing touch footy or netball or, I don't know, table tennis, like go and seek out. There's so much out there. Like there's so, like if you did it as a kid, it will still be out there, and go seek it out and dip your toe into the wild world of team sports.
I have a question for you then. You haven't touched on, you're a pretty good golfer.
Oh.
I've seen you swinging that club back on your Instagram
I live
stories.
on a golf course, so I get the advantage. But yeah, no, I love, so yeah, again, I never used to play golf, but living on a golf course, and one of my best mates is a pro golfer and a coach. So
that helps.
That helps.
Definitely helps.
And we started, he like got all our girlfriends, like his wife is one of my best girlfriends, and like, why don't we start this ladies, you know, training day, like 1 hour lesson a week, grab the girls together. And it's just, there's nothing quite like it in terms of like, it's so exhilarating to just like block out that time. Again, haven't been in months. I'm so sorry, Loic and the girls, but like life's been busy. But in that time when I was going through that quite a heavy transition, it was really important for my anxiety and for my like to build that strength to do these things.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a better place. It's like, okay, I can put it to the side a bit, and I know that I'll be able to pick up where I left off, and I'm good. But in those times when you're feeling lost and you're feeling heavy, it's really important. It's like, I know I'm having a joke, but for me it was the turning point. Because in those little moments of like amongst all the heavy, like finding those little pockets of your inner child and your light, it reminds you of the path that you originally were set on, and it brings you back home. So yeah. So for me, going to the weekly dance class, the weekly golf lesson with the girls, and just swinging a very, you know,
I don't know what you're going to say here. Swinging what?
I was going to say a very heavy stick, but again, don't know where I'm going with
Can
this.
play golf, but we don't know the terminology.
Those sticky things at a golf ball. That's how professional I am. But can be very therapeutic as well. But just the whole act going out, and also golf is out on the green, and there's something about being out in nature, focusing on a skill that you've just picked up, and doing it with, even if I was like, I would go out there and hit 100 balls on my own, and it's just like, find the time to do that, because even for me, like amongst everything that was going on, I knew how important it was. Like I treated it like it was like a doctor's appointment, because I knew it was just as important.
Yeah. Do you think if we treated fun then like a doctor's appointment, that's a good analogy actually, if we prioritized and treated fun with the respect, I guess, that it deserves, it would probably be life-changing, right?
Absolutely. I feel the same way about fitness. Like when I went through my transformation and I like lost myself health-wise and was at my absolute heaviest post-Rafi, and just it wasn't even about the weight. It was just the fact that I was waking up each morning knowing I was at 50%. I didn't have the energy. I wasn't sleeping because I was like prioritizing everyone else, kids, work, like literally sleeping like 2 hours a week, 2 hours a night, going to bed like at 4 a.m, getting up at 6. And then I got to this point about when Rafi was a year old, and I was just like a wreck. And I made a promise to myself. I woke up one morning and went, and it was leading up to Christmas, and I said, I'm not even going to wait for the New Year's resolutions. I'm literally going tomorrow. An F45 gym had opened up down the road, and I was like, I'm going to treat it like a daily work meeting. Like I take work so seriously. Why don't I take my health seriously? So
such a good point.
I booked it in, and it was hard. It was because like the only time I could fit it in around the kids was at 4:45 in the morning, and it was hard waking up every morning and before everyone else got up, when you didn't feel like it and you weren't used to training. But what's harder is living at 50%.
Oh, so true.
What's harder is living knowing that you're living to your full potential. So for me, I was like, I got to choose my heart here, and the hard eventually becomes your norm, and it becomes easy. And I've not stopped. It's like that was Rafi's 7 now. So I've always treated, since that day, my health has been a priority, just like it is with a job or work or anything like that. And now fun, is for me, like when you're going through that period, I think you do have to put it up there, and because it's fun, in inverted commas, people were like, oh, I can't, no, like I'm too busy. Like that's not important. It is so important. So that's where I stand on that.
Oh, good advice. Really good advice.
I hope so.
So let's talk about some prompts then.
Yeah.
To have fun, because you have come prepared to this
I've got
recording
a list
today.
I know. Normally I'm just
Look
like.
at you go. So walk us through your favourite prompts.
The serious Sally in me. I want, for me, I love a good girls trip. I never had many up until I went out on my own. I just decided that the boys do it and they have lots of fun. So I was like, I want to do that. Setting aside a weekend with your best girlfriends, you have the best time. Like, honestly, it doesn't have to be you don't have to catch a plane or anything like that. Even if it's like just a staycation, like, just no chores. Like, you stay at a hotel, you don't have to wash that mug. Like, you're just like, I'm walking away from that responsibility. It's so it's so simple, but it makes for a good time. It leaves that, when life's so busy, it leaves you a chance to have those little moments where you're like, oh, actually, it's quite. I'm a fun girl, and I've just lost her. So I think a yearly girls trip, book it in.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Or biannually, like maybe a couple.
Do it.
4.
One a season.
One a season. I like that. We touched on it before, but learning a skill no matter how good or bad you are, learning to laugh at yourself. So, yeah, when you're taking up this, like if you're looking for a hobby or going back to something that you thought you were really good at, you're like, oh, I was an amazing basketballer. And then all of a sudden you're like heaving on the sideline. That's all part of it. Like, don't be deterred because highly likely you're going to be crap at what you were once good at. But it's just about going, you know what, like maybe I'll, get better as time goes on, or at least I gave it a go. It's like, let's not take ourselves too seriously here. That's all part of it. Fitness, joining a gym or a team sport or a dance class. Come to Heels with me, ladies. That'll be fun. Weekly games or trivia night.
Oh, I love that.
I've got this on my list, but I've not incorporated this.
Go.
But I feel like trivia is
go.
a jam, is like our jam too.
Definitely
with your pop culture knowledge. I think we would win.
We'd have to go to a pop culture night though. Nothing about like history
Geography.
or we'd need a pop culture only trivia night. If anyone knows one, hit Jessie up.
That's your homework.
Okay, that's my homework.
Yeah.
All right, deal.
Yes. For some, it might be binge watching a TV show and just vegging out, because I know that some people just do this because they love it. But for some people, it's like they almost are like, oh, if I'm doing that, I'm just wasting time or whatever. It's like, no, can be fun. If that's your fun, if it's as simple as like give yourself permission to be like, I really want to watch this show, and it might be mind numbing, but that's the whole thing, is just like going to that place where like it might remind you of so, like you just never know. Like you just got to, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
What about having a sleepover with like your old school friends?
Oh my gosh.
And watching your favorite movies from yesteryear. I sound like I'm 50, don't I?
Yeah, yes.
But like I would love nothing more than to sit and watch like Romeo and Michelle, Scream, like actually, all those old school.
I think my girlfriends and I actually talked about doing this when I was going through my split, and we actually went to the point of ordering matching cheetah print pajamas in reference to Glennon Doyle's Untamed.
Oh, you should pick that back up again.
Yeah.
And do it.
And we never got around to it because like I'd moved into my little villa, and it was like all the girls were like, we'll come to yours. And we'll leave our husbands behind. We'll come to yours and we'll wear matching pajamas and we'll watch all these movies we loved. We never got around to it. But at the time it was like, the idea of it was like, this is a vibe. I can actually get through this time.
Yeah.
Like I got my girls and we've got our matching PJs and we still wear them. Like they'll see, like we'll be FaceTiming or whatever, and they're like, oh, you're wearing your cheetah PJs, and it's just it's cute. But it's
so I think, TV is okay.
Yeah, TV, popcorn, the whole jam. Hanging out with yourself. I am the queen of this. I love going and sitting by myself and having lunch, like inviting no one, just sitting by myself. And I got really good at it in that period. When I'd lost Ben and was just dancing and was just going through that, choosing to just keep going, I would finish working in the Valley. I was dancing at Family Nightclub. I don't know if any of Brisbaneites know Family Nightclub, but working there till till the sun would rise, and then I'd go home. I lived in the Valley. I'd have a little power nap, and then I'd still get up at a decent time, like 10 o'clock. Would go and to Chinatown, and I'd get a massage every week, and I would go and eat pho, like like the Vietnamese soup, which is my favorite dish of all time. And I would do it on my own, and like I'd have friends that would go, oh, I'll come join you. I'd be like, no, it's okay, I'm good. Like I just would, like I'd catch up with them throughout the week, but for me it was just that me time and just sitting with yourself and getting comfortable with your own company, because at the end of the day, if you can be happy and at peace on your own, doesn't matter what factors or who comes in and out, you got to be rock solid with yourself. And that's a little little superpower I love that. I like to say that I've, out of the hard times, like it's something that I've turned into a little bit of a superpower. Just to sort of go to the movies by yourself and not care what anyone thinks, and just sit there and be like, not have to fill in those spaces, just fill it in with your own goodness.
Take yourself out for dinner.
Have
a wine.
Yep.
Remember when a few months ago like, and this is just where the media can just sometimes be awful. Remember when Lisa Wilkinson was snapped having dinner and a wine on her own?
Yeah.
And reading a book, and it was
it's a
like,
dream.
poor Lisa, she's by herself. And like women everywhere were like, poor Lisa, are you kidding me? I would kill for a night like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's so much power in just sitting and people watching, even like going to a restaurant and like sitting there. And yeah, I remember when I used to do this, and like, because I'd go to the main strip of the valley even after all this at a night time and go out on my own, not to pick up, and people just assume, oh, a single young girl out in the town, she's out to pick, and people would literally come. I'd go and watch live bands at the press club, and just because like at the time, just music just was my healing tool. So I'd stand there and watch these bands, and like I'd have guys come up to me like, can I dance with you? And I'd be like, you can dance next to me, but not with me. And it probably sounded really bitchy, but for me it was just like having that boundary that I'd obviously obtained through my hurt, that I was just like, I'm more than happy for everyone to have their own fun, but like this is a solo time for me. And yeah, there's so much power in that. So I think if you're not usually inclined to sort of do that, then give it a go and tell me how you go. Yeah, because I think there's so much beauty in just sitting in your own peace. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. What have I got here? Yeah, spontaneous weekends away in a city you've never been before. Like this, the key word being spontaneous, because I think, and I want to say, like, we live in a world these days where like you try and catch up with friends and you're like, what are you doing this weekend? Busy. What are you doing in this date? And it's like, oh no, got, Sally's training camp that weekend, can't do that. I've got this birthday, that. And before you know it, like everyone's diaries just don't match up. And like literally the next time you can actually catch up is like in 19 months time. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's all too hard. And it takes the fun out of it, I feel.
So true.
Yeah.
So disheartening.
Yeah. And I feel like for like major events and everything, it's like, it's a different story. But if it's just for like a catch up, I want to bring back the spontaneous, like, what are you doing right now? Like I've just got home from grocery shopping on a Saturday afternoon. I'm going to flick open a bottle of wine. What are the chances that you are too? Like let's combine forces and like picking up and just joining. And then those are when the best times happen, because it's so unexpected. So for me, like spontaneity and fun go hand in hand. So bring back the spontaneity. And yeah, even like remember when you were a kid and like the most exciting thing that you would hear someone do would be like they'd go on a mystery flight?
Oh, yes.
Can we bring that back?
Do they do them still?
I assume so. Well, not in the last couple of years. No one was flying anywhere. But I feel like mystery flights, like I would love to do that at this point in time.
Yes, wouldn't that be fun? Because that was, correct me if I'm wrong, was it you leave on the first flight out and you return home on the last flight?
Exactly. And you just go spend the day wherever.
Got to look into that.
Yeah, it's a vibe. And if not that, if planes aren't your thing, like a staycay, like I said before, going and just utilising the amenities of the local hotels.
Yes. And most of them have great local deals.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. And it's so fuss free. And if you've got kids, even better, because then they get to go in the lush pools and just like it doesn't have to be complicated. So fun, simple fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to touch on, I think when we talk about the F word, fun, which we've said about 1 million times this episode.
Fun.
Fun frequency. For me, we call it fun, but I actually deep down think it's just confidence. Because I think when I started allowing fun back into my life, it was at a time where I was like, prior to that, I didn't have the confidence. I didn't think I was in a position. I didn't feel like I was worthy of fun because of conditioning, of just my place in the world at the time. So I think the beauty of it is like the more you allow yourself to, let's label it fun, is you allowing yourself to love on yourself, to give yourself confidence, to give yourself a chance to work on that self-worth, to be like, I don't need to validate my time on this earth by being busy all the time or being someone's mum or being caught up in the ins and outs. Like, I can just be my fun old self, and I'm amazing. I'm allowed to be here and show up in this way. So for me, like, allowing all those little times and going and signing up to the dance class and saying yes to the things that I'd normally be like, oh no, I'm too important and serious for that. It went hand in hand with the time I had the confidence. Like, I was building my confidence, building my strength. So it's like I said at the start, no joke. It's part of a bigger piece of the puzzle, I feel. So
man, that was really,
is that dope-ra?
Really dope-ra. That was profound, like really profound, because I had like a weird light bulb moment when you were talking,
mm-hmm.
like right at the start where you said it was inexplicably linked with your confidence. Why, especially women, do we always or have been taught to only be allowed to have fun as a reward for going through pain or working hard or whatever it is?
The brownie point system kills me. Yeah.
It's that whole like, I don't deserve fun because I haven't worked hard enough, so therefore I can't have any fun. Incorrect.
Wrong way around.
Incorrect.
Yeah. No, I think, and if you're not there yet with your confidence and you're like, well, I'm doomed because I'm never going to have the confidence to like reverse engineer it. And when you start having fun and putting yourself in situations, even if your confidence isn't there yet, I assure you, when you start realizing that you're in those situations and everyone's happy for you to be having a fun time and you're having a laugh and not taking yourself so seriously, the confidence comes. So either way you go about it, like, just start the process. And that's why we're having this chat today. It's
such a good chat. And I think it's even better that it's coming from you, because it really does start with the individual. And I think, you've proven that it is hard to make that first step, but you've just got to find the things that do make your heart light up.
Yep.
And believe it or not, you might try a few things that aren't great, but you will find that thing and it does make you light up. And it could be something as simple as binge watching your favorite TV show, whatever you said before. Like, I think, it's very important. I'm really glad that you chose this episode today.
Oh no,
I think it's going to wake a lot of people up in a bit of a way.
I just want to make, like, in the last episode I talked about when I was going through that really lost time after working a corporate job and giving away my art for so long. So for me, my fun, like finding that peace, was in art. But essentially it's going to be something for everyone. So what's that one thing that you did that you let go of for whatever reason as a kid that you just haven't touched on for a while? Like, go back there, just investigate and see what comes of it, because it could change your life. It changed mine. So I want that conversation to be open to the women. And I was just like, how am I going to implement the first step in someone's journey that might be listening and going, okay, I've heard her story. Like, where do I go to from here? It doesn't have to be as daunting as going to therapy or breaking up with someone or changing your life. It's like coming back home to yourself.
So good. Dope-ra. Some dope-ra lay downs.
You're so cute.
Well, it's true. I'm like nodding my head furiously. I'm almost headbutting the microphone because I'm just like, yeah. I feel like standing up
queen.
and cheering.
You get a car.
All right, shall we get into some love letters?
Love letters. I put up a question box last night and it was interesting. Like, you guys are cute with your questions, but we've gone through and selected a few. We can't obviously answer them all, but just definitely going to try and answer a couple that we think might blanket answer the common theme of most of the questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to read them out to you.
Yes, please.
Okay. First question. Can we please have some tips for getting out of a fitness slump?
Oh.
Asking for a friend. Thank you to whoever wrote this
Me
in.
too at the minute. Like, you go in and out, definitely. I think It's, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself. Life is hectic at the minute, and you got to go with the seasons. For me, like, I try and keep tabs on all the little the pie charts of my life. Like, quite often it'll be like mum life and business and friendships and relationships and fitness and nutrition, and like just have all the, like, you'll have all the plates spinning. And sometimes, depending on the season of your life and what needs focus, you'll just shift. Like, you cannot literally have it all going, and anyone that says that they do is having you on, or they're super woman or man,
or they have a lot of help.
Yeah, or they have a lot of help. And I think it's so easy for us to compare to each other and go, oh, they've got everything going on. But for the most part, like, it's not like you completely let go of that part of your life. From my experience, I like to have the plate spinning because they sort of have to. They make up my life, and without, individual components, I could really lose my path. So I know for me, it's really important to have my health and fitness, part of the pie chart going. And then, but yeah, obviously mum life, kids, business, relationships, I will try and keep it all going. But I know that there's going to be times where the gears shift and my business needs more focus because that's my livelihood. There's going to be times where my relationships and my kids and like myself, my relationship with myself needs more focus. I need to do the inner work. So yes, it goes hand in hand that the business, if that thrives and my health and fitness thrive, then they all go hand in hand. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're going through a slump in a particular time, it's probably because something else in your life needs attention, and not to be so hard on yourself. Allow yourself the time, because with time and the more you focus on whatever needs attention, it'll bring you back to that other part that you go, okay, it's time that I've got that bit sorted. And it's good, and it's like, I'm happy with where it's at. I'm going to give a little bit more energy to this part of my life. And the more you sort of like do that dance in between all these elements of your life, it becomes easier and you grow, because you've little by little, day by day, given attention to, it might not even be day by day, it might be month or season by season, month by month, but you'll keep coming back to those bits, I feel, and grow. Like, you're never going to just evenly grow in all factors and all compartments of your life at all the time. Like, there's going to be seasons where you can actually go, no, I really want to focus and be better at this, and give yourself full permission to do that. But don't be hard on yourself that because all of a sudden fitness is the one thing that you're like, I really want to go well at this. Don't be hard on yourself that you haven't caught up with friends for a while, or certain friends, and you haven't been that person that's fully there for them, because you've put yourself first for a little bit. Like, it just is it's a fine dance, but I think if you can get it right, that's where you find your rhythm. So if you're in a fitness slump, to get back to the question, I went on a tangent there, but it's like those little routines, setting the alarm clock, getting your fitness activewear clothes ready the day before, making it fun in the way that I like that outfit that makes me go harder, like little things like that. It sounds lame, but they actually work. Dialing in on, your nutrition, as simple as like drinking more water, like being more organized so that you are drinking more water, and you're doing little rituals in the morning that might just be rituals because they're ticking a box, but ticking that box makes, when you do all those things, you go, well, I've gone that far, I may as well go do the fitness session, because otherwise all that stuff goes to waste. It all goes hand in hand. So I quite often find that if you do those little things, they're going to push you to do the harder things, because without those little things, you'll just go, oh, I just don't want to do any of it at all. Like, I haven't done that, so I may as well not do that. So I think it's just like getting a little bit organized, nothing crazy, but writing a little list, even if it's in the reminder notes of your phone, starting like a little visual diary. And this is one of the things I did when I originally went on my health kick all those years ago was I started taking a visual diary. I'm not talking like a vision board of like other people or like a Pinterest board. It was like of my life, and I called it Transformation in my phone. It was like a hidden album, and it was like a visual diary for myself, and it was like, you know, all those little selfies after the gym where you're like, not for anyone else, for me to be like, like you look different, or you look like, oh, look how hard you've gone, and look at that meal you've eaten, and like those little transformation steps, like all pieced together, like before you know it, that little checkerboard of images in your phone, you're like, look at all these things I'm doing to make myself better, and it pushes you along. Like I'm such a visual person, so for me it really helped me. And I did have a vision board and all that of like things that I wanted to, like aesthetically was like, oh, you know, that would be nice. But for me it was more about my journey, and I could only compare myself to what I'd been. And having that little visual diary in my phone and to keep updating was like the little push that I needed to be like, I'm gonna go hard today, because I know that like when I add it to that album, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, like you're going good.
That's a cool tip.
Yeah.
So you were like your own motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Showing up for myself big time.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could have a private album in your phone.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Wow. Do you?
No.
Another episode.
No, you can hide. You can hide photos.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
just in case, you know.
Oh, well, that was a great answer.
Yeah.
To a really good question, because it's not an easy answer, because it is hard to get out of a slump.
Yeah.
One thing that you said about the plate spinning reminded me of, have you heard about the glass balls versus the plastic balls theory?
No. Do you tell?
Well, it's really similar to your plates and how they were all spinning. And I think other people sometimes refer to it as the hot plates on a stove.
Yeah.
And I think it was this author, I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Love, Pray and Big Magic.
Mm-hmm.
She coined the term glass balls versus plastic balls.
Mm-hmm.
And basically she was asked a question in a press conference or something one day. How do you do it all? You're this world famous author, you're on a book tour, you've got kids, you know, your schedule must be crazy, yet you're fit and you're healthy and you do all the things. She said, well, I've got a lot of balls in the air, and I only drop the ones that are plastic.
Oh, wow.
I keep the glass ones in the air. And she said the glass and the plastic balls, though, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, right.
So I might have 3 in the air. One's fitness, one's my kids, one's my business. And then my plastic ones might be my team sport, my friends, the housekeeping, et cetera, et cetera. She said other times they're interchangeable, right? Because sometimes it might be okay that I don't pick up my daughter from school. I might get someone to help me do that. But you better believe that I'm not missing my daughter's musical recital.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she explained it. And like for me, hearing the glass balls versus plastic balls theory, I was like, that's a brilliant way of visualizing what is important to you at that time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and the interchangeable part as well. It's like, you're going to have seasons where like that's a non-negotiable and that's fine. But just also be flex. Like, yeah.
So exactly to your point, like you have already been living that way. So
I love that.
I just thought I'd throw that in
there. I love
there.
that analogy. I love Elizabeth Gilbert.
I know.
Yeah.
Love her. Love that book. If you haven't read Big Magic.
Get into it.
All right. Next love letter. Hey, Jesselou. I would love some mum of boys tips and tricks.
My boys. Oh, yeah. I don't know if there's any tips and tricks. And I don't know if I'd be any different if I had a daughter. I think I obviously lead with love, and then for me it's like, I dress like a boy these days.
What did Rafi call your outfit today?
I'm a girly esche. Not today. Yeah, he's not with me today, but he's hilarious. He will always comment on what I'm wearing. He's a very aesthetic kid and he loves his fashion. So like from an early age, like when he could talk, I still joke about it now. If I put my hair up, he's like, no hair up. He doesn't like me with my hair up. I'm like, you're very controlling. But he's like, no, he likes my hair down. So he always has input on my outfits and tells me what shoes, like which dunks go with which pants, and it's hilarious. But yeah, so for me, yeah, I think I love being a boy mum, and I think, I grew up with 2 older brothers, so I think leaning into that, like having that advantage, like I was always a sporty girl growing up and can hold my own with banter, and you got to have a little bit of a thick skin. But in saying that, boys, I can't speak from experience not having a daughter, but like I feel like boys are a bit more of the soppier ones out of the 2. Like my boys, I'm very lucky of both so emotionally intelligent, and we talk about anything and everything. We're super transparent, and I think that for me, that's only just happened since we went out on our own. Like I felt like I really needed to do that in order to, it's a really sad thought I had when I went through my split, was like, I'm going to miss out on 50% of their lives. Which is, like, it's just part of life. It is what it is. And so for me, I made this promise to myself that when I am with them, aside from obviously work being super important, paying the bills and whatnot, like I'm going to do as much as I can when I don't have them, so that when I do have them, it's like I can be there for them emotionally and like fun mum, and like do all the things, like show up for them and go on adventures. And like I get little, Rafi writes me cards and says thank you for all the fun things we do. And I think, yeah, leaning on today's episode, like I try, be their parent, but have fun with them and get on their level. And because they're 2 very different levels with the age gap that they are, Jace being 15, Rafferty's 7, I like having that one-on-one time with Jace and Raffy, and it sort of happens coincidentally just with their timetables and stuff. When I have that opportunity to be with just Raff, we do the things that he loves, we chat about the things that he loves. And then with Jace, he's a teenage boy, so it's a little bit different. He doesn't really want to talk shop with his mum, but we do to an extent. I feel like I'm pretty lucky. We've worked on it so much, and I try and be an open book with him, probably more than he likes, and then it allows that freedom, like to just be open and talk about our interests and talk about fitness and like rugby, and like just be genuinely interested in what is happening in their lives. And I genuinely am. So but still having that, I still try and remind them that like I've learned a lot in my time, and that I'm always going to have my say. I'm probably a bit of a pushover, more than I thought that I would ever be, but only because I think I had such a strict upbringing. You sort of do the opposite. And there's times where I'm like, what have I done wrong? Like I'm too much of a pushover, and the hormones are raging. But at the end of the day, I think we do okay. And I think it just comes down to just, boys are just they're quite simple creatures that they just want to be loved, but they want that space to grow, and they want, especially I find with my eldest, is just like give him that space. Like there's a fine balance, and yeah, just be really wary, like read the room, I think. And yeah, I'm just not too hard on him as well. Like they're going through so much. And especially with the time like that, like I'm like during this whole COVID period, like sports events being cancelled, I just couldn't imagine like going through that already with the pressure of high school and all the, things that come with that, like having to go through such, a uncertain time. Like I was so happy that this year when things started turning around, that I was just like, you know what, they're never going to get this time again. I'm going to try and support them through this and make sure that I do just support them. Yeah. And just try and have those fun moments with them and teach them lovingly through showing up. And it just sort it's not all like, trust me, we have our moments, and the boys have their moments within themselves. Like one antagonizes the other, and for me, it's like I just bring it back to center when that happens and be like, hey, come on now, like
Time out.
Everyone get along.
Kimmy, look at me.
Yeah, look at me. Just be nice to each other, please. Like, yeah. So I think it's hard. It is hard, but yeah, boys, keep it simple and just be there and give love and show up and dress Eshay every now and again and see what they say.
Wise words. Wise words. A pair of Nike Dunks don't hurt either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a cool mum.
Not a regular mum.
Not a regular mum. I'm a cool mum.
I'm a cool mum. Okay, next question. Next love letter, I should say.
Yes.
Advice for someone who feels unhappy in their relationship.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be quite common. It's a big question.
It's almost in a whole episode.
It's broad,
that question.
yeah. But to sort of put it into one little answer for this little segment, I think happiness starts from within, and if you're unhappy within the relationship for whatever reason, if you feel you're not getting, your love cup filled from that person, I would just, and I can speak from experience, you just focus on yourself, because their happiness is not your responsibility, as is yours. It's like, do your work, they do their work, and if you can meet after that point and be happy within yourselves and be happy together, then it'll start doing what it needs to do. But before you even get to that point, you just need to focus on yourself. Really, like, yeah, it can be make or break. So it's important stuff, and do the things that make you light up. Start signing up to the things that you like. Okay, well, I'm unhappy within my relationship. What can I do to, maybe I'll not make it about you guys as a relationship doing things together, because if you're unhappy within yourself, then nothing's going to change within the relationship. If you're happy within, like, you're happy and they're bringing you down, get out. Or let them know. Say, look, I'm really trying really hard here to show up and love life and be like, why is this not working? And if they can't see that, or they're in denial, or they just they don't want to grow with you, then like that's okay. That's not on you though.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Well said. Okay, the last love letter.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know your non-negotiable health tips.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I feel like similar to what we talked about before, for me it's moving. Yeah, I move. Some people's like, and
do you do like 10,000 steps a day?
When that plate is in full focus, when I'm spinning that plate, I'm like, okay, that's part of my little checklist. That I'm like, I'm having my collagen every day, I'm drinking 3 liters of water every day, I'm doing my 10K steps. Like, that can be a season in my life, and I do feel like it makes a difference, especially if you're working at a desk and things like that. It's just science. It's just like, it helps you get ahead with your overall what you're trying to achieve. So it's like, I dare say that I probably do that because of on the back of the amount of movement I do every day anyway, because I just can't sit still. So like, I will always do a workout or go for a walk, some sort of movement every day. That is a non-negotiable for me. Probably the only time where I'm like, haven't been moving to that extent in a day is if I'm extremely hungover. To be honest.
Truth bomb.
Which doesn't happen often, but like, yeah, there'll be like, yeah, and that's the thing. It's not going to ruin your long-term health if you have a day where you're like, oh gosh, I am going to just sit with my feelings today and be miserable.
KFC bag.
Yeah, just Macca's for me.
Oh,
yeah.
Macca's, thank you.
But I just, but for the most part, like, and a good percentage of the time, it's like, whether it's, morning walk, afternoon walk, just getting that walk in if I haven't had a chance to go to the gym, which is I genuinely like make time for the gym. And even when I've got the kids, like I got all the equipment before they were old enough to be left. I got the gym sorted out in my garage, because I just knew that for me, like, it matters to move. And I think you'll find most people, like, we're not moving enough. So it's a non-negotiable for me, doing some sort of movement, because it doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be thrashing yourself. It's just could be the fact that I'm going to a dance class, because that releases, it's a healing property for me, and it's ticking that box. Or whether it's like going and doing a group fitness class, because then I get that dose of high-fiving humans at the end of the workout and feeling that camaraderie. Or it could be going and doing a team basketball, like sport, and putting myself out there. If it's something that's just like a new experience every day, because that's me. I'm a new experiences girl. I love putting myself in situations where I'm just like, that's something new, or that's like for the day, even if it's just for the day. It's like, I didn't do that yesterday, and like it's just feeling the feels, it's living. It's like, I just don't ever want to take that for granted. So I feel like not moving like a whole day, like you got a whole day, like go just walk on the beach, or go for like sniff the trees. I don't know, like get out in nature, like do something that your body's and mind's going to thank you for. So it's pretty broad answer, but just for me, it's like I might not, my nutrition might not be the most amazing every day or whatever, and that's okay. But for me, it's just like I have to move and get that heart rate a little bit elevated and just going, because it makes me feel alive.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all your love letters.
Oh, I love them. Amazing. Okay. I think we're going to go into words to live your week by. Words to live your week by. Some parting words. And I also have a part B of today's segment because
Part B.
But words to live your week by. Today I am going to read another little poem of mine. It's called Creative Heart. And I know this week's episode is about fun, but for me, to be creative is fun, and the true essence of fun is just your heart being creative and free. So this is for all you lovely listeners to take away this week, and hopefully, implement into your lives this week. So here we go. To be free to flow, to be open to begin, to be comfortable to change and grow, to be confident, vulnerable, to be bright-eyed, wondrous, to be passionate and ever so curious of all the things to be. There's that. And I just want you guys to just, I'd love to set the challenge if you've listened today and gotten this far and listened to us banter and drivel on about our love of fun, to just go set yourself the challenge this week. No one's holding you accountable except yourself. Like, if this has struck a chord and you've gone, you know what, I really want to go, and I used to really love singing, I'm going to go sing in my room at the top of my lungs when no one's listening, because I haven't done that for a long time. Just go and do that. If it's, I really used to love watercolor painting and I would have no idea where to start. Like, go to your cheap shop and get a watercolor paint set and just fill a page. If you haven't played a sport for a really long time, just call up a mate that you might know that, you're on that team. Like, can I come join you? Or just pick up where you left off, and set yourself the challenge. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be really small, but just start that conversation with yourself and see what can happen from it. Because for me, it was such a life-changing tool, finding the fun in my life again and giving myself permission to be that little girl that knew so easily how to find peace. Lean into that and see where it ends up, and let me know if you want to. I'm always keen to hear of growth and love, and so always always keen to hear if what we're sort of putting out here is making a difference. So yeah, let me know. But that's it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. The next couple of episodes we're really guest heavy, so it's nice to have a bit of fun with this week's episode. And can't wait for next week's episode and to talk to our next guest. It'll be a really good one. So thanks for listening. Bye.
I don't want just anybody.